Gotta push the ball through. Not going anywhere until it's dribble. Push it through. Come on. Here we go. Roll it through. Keep battling. Get to the rim.
As we continue our coverage of Season 8 of the ASEAN Basketball League, we're greeting you from the Canadian International School Arena in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, as the home team, the Saigon Heat, welcome the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. Glad to have you with us. I'm Anton Rojas, and joining me is a man who used to play for both these teams. If you're an ABL fan, I'm sure you know him very well. The one and only Dynamite, Jai Reyes.
Yes, good afternoon, Anton, and it's exciting to be here right now, not working the pick and rolls and the screens, but working the TV sets with you.
Well, let's take a look at the team standings right now. Jai, of course, the home team still relatively new in this tournament because they only played one game so far. They're looking to bounce back today on their home floor. On the other hand, Mono Vampire is sporting a 3-2 record, and they want to bounce back today after losing a tough one against Hong Kong the last time out.
Yes, you know, for this season, Mono Vampire already has some momentum building up in this season. But, you know, the Saigon Heat, they've only played one game, so they have to get their momentum going early in the first quarter.
So it should be a very exciting contest as both these teams are looking to bounce back. Taking a look at the Saigon Heat, they lost against the Formosa Dreamers 80-75. As we take a look at Coach Doug Marty, who is in his first year as the head coach for the Mono Vampire Basketball Club.
Well, yes, you know, this game today, you know, it's going to be big, especially for the home team, the Saigon Heat. They're very reliant on their world imports, so this game today, they want to look for some production from their local players also.
All right, let's turn it over to our hype man, who is at center court.
Number 5, Quickman Jason Alexander. Number 6, Sanders Patrick. Number 8, Jama Ball Christian. Number 10, Kukan Ding Superwitch. Number 12, Buyai Sirabong. Number 38, Fuala Arnat. Number 42, Johnson Richino. Number 65, Jantha John Tirawat. Number 67, Srikote Nutibong. Number 69, Abirong Villachai Darongban. Number 77, Ananti Chitchat, huấn luyện viên trưởng, head coach of Mono Vampire Basketball Club is Mr. Douglas Clark Marty. Everybody, please make some noise to welcome our home team, Saigon Heat. Number 11, Võ Kim Bản. Number 17, Nguyễn Huỳnh Hải. Number 5, Tô Quang Trung. Number 0, Nguyễn Hồ Rê Xuân Tường. Number 1, Nguyễn Tuấn Tú Stephen. Number 14, Lê Ngọc Tu. Number 28, Jovel John. Number 6, Big Arnold. Number 9, Akim Scott. Huấn luyện viên trưởng Head Coach of Saigon Heat is Mr. Kyle Julius. Trợ lý huấn luyện viên Assistant Coach of Saigon Heat is Mr. David Singleton. Xin được trân trọng giới thiệu giám sát viên và tổ trọng tài của trận đấu ngày hôm nay. Commissioner and referees for this game are Mr. Lê Việt Đức, Mr. Garcia Jonah, Mr. Sutario Hariato, Miss Ho Sweat May. Và bây giờ xin mời mọi người đứng lên để làm lễ chào cờ. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please stand up for the national anthem. Quốc ca. Vâng, xin mời hai đội chúng ta bắt tay nhau. Two teams, please shake hands.
It is a battle between the Saigon Heat and the Mono Vampire Basketball Club here in Season 8 of the ASEAN Basketball League. We once again welcome you to our coverage. Anton Rojas alongside Jai Reyes for a very exciting matchup between two teams that are looking to bounce back today.
Well, yes, I was talking to the Thailand coach, Coach Doug Marty, a while ago, and he said that they have no problem scoring the basketball. But what's going to make them successful this season is the way that they play defense.
Now let's take a look at what happened in Saigon's last game. As I mentioned earlier, they lost a close one to the Formosa Dreamers 80-75, and they really have to get more production from their bench, Jai.
Well, yes, they were actually leading by 9 points going into the fourth quarter, but as you just mentioned, you know, when you're just heavily reliant on your world imports, it actually takes a toll. You know, these guys get tired also, so their local players have to produce for them also.
And making a rousing debut was Akeem Scott. 29 big points for him, 3 out of 9 from beyond the arc. Let's see if he can come up with that type of production again today. But as we take a look at the Mono Vampire Basketball Club, they lost a tough one to the defending champions, Hong Kong Eastern Basketball Team. But one of the bright spots for Mono Vampire was this young man right here, Tirawat Chantachon. They call him big. He scored 15 points and did not miss in all of his 7 attempts from the field.
Yes, as you mentioned, Anton, he had a perfect game. This guy is only 22 years old. He's one of the rising stars for the Thai national team. And you know, this experience in the ABL is just going to do wonders for him when he goes back and plays for the national team.
And I know you know this very well, Jai. The production from the locals will be very vital to the success of any team here in the ASEAN Basketball League.
Yes, you know, there are a lot of imports who play for each team in the ABL. Particularly 4 imports, 2 world imports and 2 ASEAN World Heritage imports, you know. But the key to success in winning the championship in the ABL is actually the production from the local players.
Well, Jai, you played for both these teams in the past. I want to ask you, how are you feeling in your return to Saigon?
Well, it's great. It's been like 5 or 6 years.
I heard you were a rock star back then.
Not really, but you know, it's fun. It's fun to be back, to seeing everyone. This is actually one of the best teams when it comes to production in terms of marketing the basketball game here in Saigon. You know, football is their #1 sport, but basketball is very rapidly rising.
We're taking a look at the starting units for both squads as we take a look at the Mono Vampire Basketball Team and the Saigon Heat. a lot of the usual suspects will be starting for their respective coaches. Coach Doug Marty, of course, from Mono Vampire, and Coach Kyle Julius for the Saigon Heat. But one of the matchups to look forward to is the matchup at the point guard position between Mono's Jason Brickman and the Saigon Heat's Akeem Scott.
Yes, you know, Akeem Scott, he likes to score the basketball, and he actually needs to for the Saigon team. And on the other hand, you have Jason Brickman. He's a breath of fresh air, actually, in this time and age of scoring points guard, as they like to call it. Jason Brickman is an old school throwback kind of point guard. He's actually leading the league in assists, and he's in an ongoing streak for 10 plus assists per game, and he's actually tied the record for 10 plus assists per game, tying Roylan Bagyon, when he was also actually playing for the Thailand team.
You're right about that, Jai. Number 1 in assists is Jason Brickman, averaging 9.6 assists per game. He had 12 points, 11 assists, and 4 steals in their last outing against Hong Kong. So we're taking a look right now at Coach Doug Marty. Had a very interesting conversation with him early on. He says what he likes about his team is he likes their pace, he likes the way they attack the basket, but he wants to develop a strong defensive mindset. That is the type of philosophy he's trying to establish with the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. And he also believes that one of their strengths is shooting from beyond the arc.
Yes, that's correct. All these local Thai players, all of them can shoot. I played a league back in March with the TBSL, the Thai Super League, and his team, he was also coaching the Mono Vampire, and they can really go up and down the court, put some points there on the scoreboard. Yeah, but if you're a running team, if you're a fast-paced team, usually the challenge is how you can lock down the other team on defense.
Jai, you were talking about the production and how you were very impressed. You felt it when you were playing here in Vietnam, and we really see it from the hype man, from the crowd, the materials that they provide to the fans, the theatrics, everything that they do here at the home of the Saigon Heat makes the game more exciting.
Well, yes, yeah, you know, our viewers probably can't see it, but when you step outside the gym, they have everything going. They have food stalls, they have contests before the game, and they just really do a good job of bringing basketball close to the Vietnamese people.
You know what I was looking for? I was looking for that old Jai Reyes standee. Where is that at?
They probably threw that away already. That was like 5 years ago, Anton.
You saw one of the key players for the Saigon Heat earlier, number 7, Moses Morgan. And I learned that he was actually sick in their last game. That's why he only scored 5 points, shot 2 out of 16 from the field. He had to be rushed to the hospital right after that game as he was suffering from food poisoning during that week. So he's back to 100%, and let's see if he will have a better showing today.
Well, you know, that's where you can see the heart of the player. And, you know, an interesting fact, Moses Morgan is actually half Thai.
Wow.
But he's playing for the Saigon team because he's been staying here in Ho Chi Minh for a while already.
And he's definitely a very solid player as we take a look at our hype man making things very interesting and energetic. And speaking of interesting, the new point guard of the Saigon Heat, Akeem Scott, had a rousing debut, 29 points, 3 out of 9 from beyond the arc, and he was the first player in the gym. He was actually shooting threes 2 hours and 30 minutes before tip-off.
Yes, that's correct, Anton. And that's where you can see if a player is actually gonna have a good game or a bad game. And even in the warm-ups, you can actually see that he was very upbeat, dancing to the music, you know, talking to his teammates, getting everybody involved, you know. And it's we have a little bit of technical problems right here. I think they're trying to fix the shot clock.
So if you're watching right now, join the conversation, tweet me and Jai. Let's try to make it trend. Our hashtags for the ASEAN Basketball League are hashtag ABL8 and make history. And it's a historic year for the ASEAN Basketball League, which was founded in 2009, because this is the biggest ever tournament for the ABL, because there are 9 teams participating in this year's season.
Yes, that's correct. Back when I was still playing, there were only 6 teams, and it's really fun to see the league grow this rapidly. And I've heard that there are teams actually from Australia, from Hawaii,
wow,
and from other countries who've shown interest to join the league next year.
And I also heard that there are still some teams interested in you.
don't know about that. Maybe to cover their games, but not to play anymore.
I just heard, Jai, just making sure. But we're taking a look at some of the players warming up. Travell Jones. Now, he will have to match up with Reggie Johnson. What can you say about that matchup, knowing that Reggie Johnson is a natural 5, but Travell Jones primarily, well, back in the States and back in the leagues that he played at before the ABL, played the power forward position.
Yes, that's right. Even in the warm-ups, you can see Travell Jones. He likes to shoot jumpers. And, you know, in boxing, they say styles make fights, you know. And this is a classic matchup of someone playing on the inside in Reggie Johnson and someone who likes to shoot three-pointers and pick and pop in Travell Jones. So let's see, because Reggie Johnson, you know, it's not really just his scoring and rebounding. It's the presence that he commands on offense that opens up a lot of things for his teammates.
Now we're taking a look at the shot clock here. I believe this is what they are trying to fix. We saw them working on that earlier, and that is why we have not started this game. But once again, we welcome you to our coverage of the ASEAN Basketball League. This is Season 8 of the league that started in 2009. And we are here right now at the Canadian International School Arena in Ho Chi Minh City, District 7, Vietnam, as the Saigon Heat host the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. Now, Jai, you know some of the players. I saw you greeting some of your former teammates. Are you surprised that some of them are still here?
Well, not at all, because for their respective countries, they've been playing for their national teams. They absolutely love the sport. In both these countries, Vietnam and Thailand, they're actually looking to grow basketball in their respective countries. Both of these countries have soccer, football as their primary sports, but they've been telling me that basketball has been picking up very fast in their countries.
This is what's happening in the pregame. The festivities have begun here, but we are still waiting for tip-off for this matchup between the Saigon Heat and the Mono Vampire Basketball Club.
And I think, Anton, the Saigon Heat management, you know, they've really brought out the Christmas spirit in everyone right now.
And speaking of the Christmas spirit, we have the Saigon Hot Girls on the floor, heating up the hard court. I see why you love being here, Jai.
Well, it's the whole package here in Saigon. You know, everything is great. You know, food is cheap. That's always a plus. Food is good, and it's just great to play in front of people who love the sport.
We are definitely feeling the energy here at the CIS Arena.
Interesting color of jersey for the Mono Vampire.
Oh yeah, what is that? Is that neon orange?
Yes.
Kind of like a glow-in-the-dark thing going for them. Now, we're taking a look at Paul Zamar, and a little bit of trivia. Jai, Paul, and I actually played against each other in high school.
That's correct, Anton. And, you know, I remember very distinctly, Paul led the league, the UAAP Junior.
Yeah, he was a killer.
In three-point attempts, this guy can shoot from anywhere, and everyone's going to see that in this game today.
And the thing is, Paul primarily is a scorer, a shooter, but he has been trying and he has been working on his defensive game. Maybe we might see him on Akeem Scott later on.
That's correct. He definitely has to guard Akeem Scott. They're playing the same position. You know, Paul, as you mentioned, he's been a scorer all his life. But when he stepped up to the professional ranks, he's actually had to adjust to play more of a point guard role. And I think finally, right now, he's playing the best basketball of his pro career.
Of course, Paul Zamar, like us, originating from the Philippines. And like Paul, you also made it back to the Philippine Basketball Association, and you gained a lot of experience playing here against high-level competition in the ASEAN Basketball League.
Well, yes, definitely, Anton. You know, one thing that you're really going to learn here in the ABL is, you know, as an import, you're going to have to play a lot of minutes. Sometimes the whole game, no rest. You'll have to score the basketball, you have to get your teammates involved, and you'll have to probably guard the best player on the other team. So that's a lot of experience that, you know, you can't get anywhere else.
Travell Jones warming up on the floor as well here for the Saigon Heat. We're very excited after that opening game against the Formosa Dreamers. I'm sure they are raring to get this game going and play in front of this home crowd.
Yep, as you know, the hard-working staff of the ABL trying to get the shot clock fixed right here. A while ago, it was working perfectly. There you go.
And finally, the shot clock is back on, to the delight of the fans here at the CIS Arena, because they can't wait to get this game going.
Yes. You know, as you can see, the fans here in Saigon, you know, it's a good mix of local crowd and the foreign people who are working here in Saigon.
Yeah, I was exploring the city earlier, and I ran into a couple of them. They're very friendly, and they love the city of Vietnam.
Yes, of course. The economy is booming just like the Philippines, just like the rest of Southeast Asia. And it's a perfect time to bring in sports entertainment here in this country.
You know what? I was fortunate enough a couple of Christmases ago to watch a game at the American Airlines Arena in Miami, Florida. And right now, I feel like I'm in Miami, because "Let's Go Heat" is the exact same chant that they shout over there.
Yes, even the shade of red is pretty much the same for the Saigon Heat and the Miami.
And of course, they will try to let the Mono Vampire Basketball Club feel the heat inside the CIS Arena as we are about to get this show on the road.
That's one of the biggest advantages of the Saigon Heat. It's actually the home court, the crowd. You know, when they get going, when they get their runs and their momentum, you know, the crowd gets involved, and it just feels so much better to play in front of your own crowd.
And we are officially underway. This is the ASEAN Basketball League Season 8 as we continue to make history around Asia.
And early on, they look to get Akeem Scott involved right away. And as we predicted, it's a matchup between Paul Zamar and Akeem Scott.
And Akeem Scott very aggressive, just like we saw him in their first game, turning the ball over, though, in that first offensive sequence.
Very good defense by number 8, Paul Zamar. He stopped the leading scorer of Saigon Heat from getting his first bucket.
So as expected, Paul Zamar will also have his time against the very athletic and quick Akeem Scott. Sanders missing on that jumper, and here comes the Heat.
Yep, Sanders is a throwback import also. He loves to isolate, you know, survey the floor and make his move.
Travell Jones coming up for a rebound there, couldn't get it. Here comes Reggie Johnson like a bulldozer down the floor. Jones takes it away from him.
Yes, you know, and if you're Reggie Johnson, you'd love to give it up to your point guard, run the floor for an easy score.
And David Arnold coming up with the first basket of the game for the home team.
Yep. Very
David
good
Arnold.
execution for Saigon there on the fast break attempt.
Double-double in his last game. David Arnold looking to come up even bigger here for Saigon today. Brickman kicking it out to Zamar. That's his specialty, in and out though on that shot. And here comes Akeem Scott.
Yeah, even though Paul Zamar missed that three-point attempt, that's a very good possession for Mono Vampire. I'm sure Coach Doug Marty is very happy with the drive-in kick.
One of the things we notice here, Jai, is a new change in the starting unit for Coach Kyle Julius as Tule, number 14, starting for the Heat.
Yes, and he's actually very aggressive early on, driving against Big of Thailand. As you see, Akeem Scott taking his free throws, missing the first.
Akeem Scott from Harlem, New York.
Yes,
A
he's
very experienced player, actually plays for the Jamaica national team.
Yes, he's going to be a very, very tough matchup for both Paul Zamar and Jason Brickman. You know, usually teams in the ABL get two big world imports. But, you know, Saigon played it a little bit differently right now. They got Akeem Scott, who's a point guard. You know, so he'll have an advantage every night against the other players.
And Coach Kyle Julius also assigned him the role of team captain for the Saigon Heat.
Nice pass by
And Big is able to score underneath.
Nice pass right there. That's the game of Patrick Sanders right there. You know, he's matched up against a local from the Saigon Heat. So no doubt they're going to try to take advantage of that the whole game.
Here comes Akeem Scott. And that's an offensive foul. foul right there.
Yes, moving screen.
3-2 is our tally in this matchup between the Saigon Heat and the Mono Vampire Basketball Club.
Yes, and right now you can see the Saigon Heat they're switching defensive matchups right now. They're putting Moses Morgan on Patrick Sanders, and that's actually a better matchup for them defensively.
Here's Johnson handing it off to Samar. Samar with a drive. Throws it back out. Sanders with a basketball. Sanders fakes. Sanders fires. And he gets it to go.
As you can see, Anton, the moves of Sanders, very reminiscent of Kobe Bryant, if you might say. Good footwork, good up fakes, and that fadeaway jumper is just very, very tough to stop.
Patrick Sanders had 15 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists in their last game against Hong Kong. In and out on that shot for Travell Jones.
That's Travell Jones, facing up, spotting up against the defenders.
And look at Jason Brickman powering his way to the basket.
I think Saigon, they did their homework. They know that Jason Brickman loves to drive, but loves to kick it out to his teammates. But that sequence, nobody actually helped, so it was a wide open layup for him.
Paul Zamar quickly acknowledging the foul that he committed on Akeem Scott.
Yep, he's gonna have to make Akeem Scott work for his points. I don't think Paul Zamar minds if he doesn't score that much as he is in his last ball game, but if he can keep Akeem Scott at bay on the offensive end, that's gonna be a good job for him already.
Another moving screen called here on the Saigon Heat.
And the problem with the moving screen for Saigon, is Akeem Scott is bringing the ball up and they're trying to set the screen so he'll have momentum going to the basket. But the screens are moving and you absolutely can't do that.
Some tight defense here by Moses Morgan on Patrick Sanders as Sanders made that move towards the baseline.
That's actually 2 fouls on Moses Morgan already, so he has to watch out.
Zamar has the basketball, throws it down low to Big Chantachon.
Yes. Early on, it's an obvious advantage for Mono inside the paint. They're much bigger, they're longer, and they can pound that basketball anytime they want to.
Travell Jones passing it to Wen. And Wen is able to knock it down from the corner.
Yes, on the other hand, you mentioned that one has an advantage in terms of height and heft. But on the defensive end, Reggie Johnson is not going to come out of the paint. So somebody is going to be open for a 3-pointer for Saigon.
Speaking of a 3-pointer, we have Jason Brickman there as Johnson scores underneath.
Yes, that's it. That's an offense, defense, advantage on offense. Sometimes it's a disadvantage on defense for offense.
Stephen Wen. Nice up and under move, just unable to finish.
Good move right there.
No look pass, and Big Chantachon slamming it down.
That's your young legs right there, Anton, and that's the running game of Mono.
And the Mono Vampire Basketball Club are on top against the Saigon Heat early, 12-6. Let's take a look at Mono run the floor. No look pass by Jason Brickman to Chantachon, who puts it down.
Yes, we mentioned that this is just the second game of the Saigon Heat, and they have to get their momentum going early in the first quarter. But Mono loves to start strong also in their game, and they're gonna run up and down the court for all 4 quarters. So that's something Saigon has to watch out for.
You know what, Jai? I was talking to Coach Kyle Julius, and he told me that one of their struggles, one of the things that they expected to struggle with was the familiarity, because they had no training camp. They never had an exhibition game, and he feels like compared to what the other teams have been doing, they're actually 2 months behind them in terms of preparation. So that's where they're asking the fans to be patient with the gelling of the team, and he actually expects 5 new players to be added to the squad later on in the tournament.
Yes, actually, it's already a bonus for them that this is only their second game. Some other teams have played 4 or 5 games already, but it's also tough to be a professional basketball team here in Vietnam, because where are you gonna look for practice games? How are you gonna get your squad ready for the actual competition in the ABL? So that's a disadvantage for the home team right here.
But of course, Coach Kyle Julius, who hails from Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada, knows what he's doing. former NBL Canada Coach of the Year this year actually, and coached the team to the gold medal in the Jones Cup last July in Taiwan.
Yes. You know, off the timeout from Saigon, we saw a little bit of a full court press from Mono just to put the offense of Saigon off.
Here's Brickman to Sanders. Sanders looking at it down low, but Nguyen was there for the defense. They have the height advantage here down low. Chantachon fouled as he was backing down Stefan Nguyen.
And Anton, very obvious that they want to get big involved early in this game. He's matched up with a local from Saigon, and he can just post up there any time.
7 out of 7 from the field in their last game against Hong Kong. So very reliable man.
You know what Big brings to the table for Mono? Early in the game, he can be very, very aggressive. Get those easy baskets down low. It allows Reggie Johnson, Patrick Sanders, Paul Jamar, and Jason Goodman to kind of coast in the first quarter, so they'll have a lot of energy in the fourth.
Here's Arnold passing it to the corner. Stefan Nguyen. Short.
Well, but that's the way you want to break the press. You want to attack the press. Because if you don't attack the press, they're just going to keep on doing it, and you're going to run out of time in the shot clock.
Here's Johnson. Like a bulldozer. 3 guys on him right now. Johnson.
Good defense right there for Saigon.
And that's what it's going to take to stop Johnson. Look at that sidestep move by Akeem Scott. Like a lightning bolt.
You know, one of the keys for Saigon is if they make stops, they have to run the break. Because Reggie Johnson is not going to sprint back on.
The Saigon Heat feeding off the energy of the crowd.
Good defensive play right there, taking the charge. Sometimes you see someone as big as Reggie Johnson. I would just get out of the way and give him the dunk. Good defense right there for Saigon.
Reggie Johnson is 315 pounds, while Stefan Nguyen is just 180 pounds. Here comes Akeem Scott, kicking it out. 3 on the way. And Moses Morgan, he is 100% today.
Very obvious game plan for Saigon. They want to get Akeem Scott some momentum, so a full head of steam from the backcourt, and they're just going to spread out the floor because their other import, big guy Travell Jones, he loves to shoot the basketball.
And the Saigon Heat have come to within 2 here in this exciting matchup in Season 8 of the ASEAN Basketball League. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. Jai, Mono Vampire was able to race to an early lead. How were the Saigon Heat able to get back in this contest?
Well, as expected, Saigon is a little bit rusty. This being just their second game. So Mono attacked early in the game, and now they're getting a little bit of a feel of the game. But this is something that we're going to see. This is a trend that we're going to see the whole game. Coach Doug Marty loves to use his bench. He has quality, really, really good local players. They've already brought in J.O. Theo and Pam Apiromilaichai, both national team players also. But then, on the other hand, Saigon Heat has yet to make a change. So they have to budget their energy for the 4 quarters.
We're taking a look at the coach of the Saigon Heat, Coach Kyle Julius. I was talking to him about their last game against the Formosa Dreamers, and he told me he thought they played a decent game. They had some wide open shots. Unfortunately, they weren't able to knock down a lot of those shots, and they just lacked the firepower. But he likes the way they push the tempo, and they also like to play the half-court game as well.
Yes, in that game, as we saw earlier in our graphics, they were leading by 9 points going to the 4th quarter. So, they step on the gas pedal for 3 quarters, but in the 4th quarter, that's the biggest challenge for the Saigon Heat. Who's gonna be there to give them extra production? Their locals absolutely have to step up if they want to win this game today.
We're taking a look at the camp of the Mono Vampire Basketball Club.
Yes, I think we have another problem with the shot clock right here. That's why we're having a stoppage in the game again.
Well, wherever you are, thank you so much for joining us. This is our coverage of the ASEAN Basketball League for Season 8. Join us with the discussion. Use the hashtag ABL8 and hashtag Make History This is Anton Ross along with Jai Reyes breaking down the action from the CIS Arena here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam.
You know, Anton, this is one of the advantages of the Thailand team. Just like the Philippine team, you know, they have a lot of depth in terms of local players. They have 3 local players right now on the court: J.O., Big, and Pam, as their English names would go. All 3 of them are playing for the Thai national team.
Of course, J.O. is Ratdech Kruatiwa. They all have their nicknames.
Yes, Dead Eye Shooter. he is one of the basketball legends in Thailand.
Jason Brickman at the line, former finals MVP and ABL champion with the Westport's Malaysian Dragons back in 2016. David Arnold with a drive, kicking it out to Akeem Scott from the corner. And practice has paid off.
You know, because they're a lot smaller than the mono team, as you can see, they inbound the ball very quickly, even off of made basket. That was even a made free throw, and they were able to score in less than 8 seconds.
Here's J.O. As you said, dead-eye shooter, but too strong on that attempt. Here comes Brickman. Brickman in the paint, kicking it out. Johnson for 3. He has that shot, 1 out of 1 in their last game, but missing on his first attempt today.
But if you're Saigon, you'll take that all day. Reggie Johnson shooting a 3 as compared to sealing down low.
David Arnold from the corner. It's raining threes here inside the CIS Arena, and the crowd is loving it.
Yes, Anton, there will be an absolute open 3 every time down the court for the Saigon Heat, as long as Reggie Johnson is in the game, because he will not go out of the shaded area on defense.
Let's take a look at the highlights right here. David Arnold stroking it from the corner.
That will be the key. If Saigon is going to win or lose this game, it's going to be their outside shooting. They're going to look to push the ball, put up the pace, and try to create a lot of possessions, and they have to knock down those 3s.
David Arnold with 5 points so far in this game. Moses Morgan with 6 points, already exceeding his output in their last game when he was struck by food poisoning. As we take a look at Coach Kyle Julius.
After that sub by Mono Vampire, you know, we saw a quick run by the Saigon Heat, and now they're up by 2 points.
And I think that the energy of the crowd really bolstered this run by the Saigon Heat. And of course, the very energetic and aggressive Akeem Scott pushing the pace every time.
Yep. But the question again is that energy going to be there in the 4th quarter of this game? We're going to see.
David Arnold, 5 points, has not missed today.
Finally, Saigon Heat makes their first substitution.
Let's see if Johnson will get aggressive in the paint.
They're trying to look for him down low, but the Saigon Heat are doing a good job of denying him the ball.
Zamar trying his luck from way out, and it's going to be Heat basketball.
Yes, Jason Brickman goes to the bench. Now Paul Zamar is back in to run the show for the Mono Vampire team. You know, number 69 from Thailand, Pam Apiromilaichai. He's primarily there for his defense, for his hustle, for his rebounding. You know. And right now he's matched up with Akeem Scott.
Wen from the corner, in and out. And Pam coming up with a rebound. Here's Paul Zamar. They go inside to Sanders. They're really working the matchups.
Yes. Every time they go down low on offense, speaking about the Mono Vampire team, they've been getting good possessions. But when they rush, they're taking quick shots. That's when the Saigon Heat is able to come down on offense and just run the breaks.
Patrick Sanders is 26 years old. Excuse me, 32 years old, Patrick Sanders. Here's Travell Jones. Jones scooping it up and in.
Good move, good move. He received the ball in the mid-post. He's not gonna try to bang with Reggie Johnson in the low post, and he used his quickness right there to get to the basket.
Zamar with a drive. And Zamar somehow is able to score despite the presence of Travell Jones.
You know, Anton, if you're a small guy, that's a classic textbook example of how you can get to the basket. You gotta use your body so that the shot blocker can't jump.
Back and forth action we are witnessing here inside the CIS arena. Sanders.
Good defense, good defense.
And a steal here. Travell Jones, nobody home.
And you know, even though Travell Jones was the one who got the breakaway dunk, it was Arnold for the Saigon Heat who made that sequence possible. Saigon
looking to defend home court.
Another offensive foul by Reggie Johnson. He has 2 fouls right now.
A slow start for Reggie Johnson today. Had a monster outing against Hong Kong, scoring 31 points, but he has been checked.
Yes, and it's an obvious game plan for the Saigon Heat on defense, you know. Whenever Reggie Johnson receives the ball down low in the post, they're trying to send him baseline, to turn baseline, and the help defense is right there.
Here comes David Arnold, looking for Akeem Scott. Scott, look at the speed.
He's fired up, Anton.
Wow. Let's take a look at it one more time. Bringing the thunder here in Saigon, Akeem Scott.
Yes, Pam is probably the best defender in all of Thailand. And you know, he tried to influence him going left. Maybe that's the weak hand of Akeem Scott, but there's absolutely no problem finishing with the left or the right.
Akeem, though, missing on that bonus free throw.
Yes, he's going to get fouled a lot in this game. That's his second missed free throw. So he has to improve on that as the game goes along.
Zamar backing down against Scott. Up and under move by Paul Zamar.
Good footwork by Paul Zamar right there.
But look at Akeem Scott. He does not stop. He does not quit. And like you said, he's going to be drawing a lot of fouls.
Interesting. Early in the game, he's very, very aggressive. He's absolutely not pacing himself. So again, it's fun to see in the fourth quarter if he still has the speed and explosion in his drives.
Well, look at that, just leaving his defender in the dust, Akeem Scott.
Yes, all the offense right now for the Saigon Heat is coming from Akeem Scott. From the backcourt, he's getting a full head of steam, and everyone's just spaced out, ready to shoot.
Akeem Scott had 4 steals also in their last game against the Formosa Dreamers to go along with his 29 points.
He's very, very quick, Anton. And, you know, right now that Reggie Johnson is on the bench for the Thailand team, the lane is wide open for him. That's why the last 3 possessions, we've seen him go inside the paint.
And it's hard to believe that Akeem is actually 34 years old already.
You know what? Age is just a number, especially you know, in sports. You know, the young guys, the young legs are good, just like big for Thailand. But the trade-off is, if you're a veteran of the sport, is you know every nook and cranny, all the tricks of the game.
Meanwhile, we have Patrick Sanders. And you compare this game to that of Kobe Bryant, and I see why. The footwork with his back to the basket, very impressive for Patrick Sanders as we see him against David Arnold right here.
Yep. You know, in this day and age of the 3 or the layup, you know, analytically in basketball, that's what they're saying. That those are the 2 most high percentage shots. Either get 3 points or an easy basket. Rarely do we see a player like Patrick Sanders in this day and age who's working the mid-range game.
They say the mid-range game is a lost art.
Yes, that's true, Anton, that's true.
But it's a skill that basketball players should not take for granted, as we see Travell Jones bring the ball down right here for the Saigon Heat. Travell Jones showing us that he's got speed as well. And possession will remain with the Heat as Zamar was unable to hold on to that basketball.
2 seconds remaining. There's going to be a catch and shoot for the Saigon.
Home team, Saigon Heat leading Mono Vampire right now, 25-21. Arnold gives it up to Wen. Wen at the buzzer.
He missed that shot, but that was a good baseline out of bounds set for Saigon.
So, after the first quarter, the Saigon Heat lead the Mono Vampire Basketball Club 25-21 here in Season 8 of the ASEAN Basketball League. An energetic start for both these ball clubs, especially for the Mono Vampire Basketball Club, who came out hot, but the Saigon Heat feeding off the energy of the crowd, roaring back into it, and they were able to draw 2 early fouls from the big man of Mono Vampire, of course, Reggie Johnson.
As you can see in the highlights of the fast break of the Saigon team, this is something that they have to do all game long, given that they're a much smaller team than Mono Vampire.
Sanders, he will have to carry the load for Mono Vampire, while Johnson is nursing those 2 personal fouls, and Big, he's got to continue his solid production in the paint as well.
Yep, you can get those post-ups and seals inside the paint anytime they want to. They just have to be patient. But they, that's the dilemma for the team of Coach Doug Martin. They love to run, they love to go up and down, but their advantage for this team is their size and heft.
We've seen a couple of dunks already, one from both sides.
There's one from Big, and dating back to his last 7 out of 7 perfect performance. Right now in the first quarter, he's 3 out of 3, so he still hasn't missed his last 10 shots.
Wow. And we were talking about the importance of the production of the locals, and looking good so far.
Yes, both teams are actually shooting a good 50% from the field. But then Saigon Heat, they just have more possessions, 18-16.
And Saigon is also 50% from beyond the arc, 4 out of 8. While on the other hand, Mono Vampire has not hit a 3.
Yes, we thought that Mono is the better outside shooting team, but early on in the first quarter, this is something that is absolutely key for the Saigon Heat. They have to make their threes.
Patrick Sanders is the #1 player in the league right now in terms of made threes, having 15 made threes in the tournament.
Yes, that's because his mid-range game is very deadly. So when he's out there in the three, they kind of back up on him, kind of dare him to shoot the three, and he's been making them.
We once again welcome everybody watching right now to our coverage of Season 8 of the ASEAN Basketball League as we continue to make history. I'm Anton Ross alongside Jai Reyes, breaking down the action between the Saigon Heat and the Mono Vampire Basketball Club.
And to match up here with the Saigon Heat, the Mono Vampire is putting on a smaller lineup without Reggie Johnson, Patrick Sanders.
Zamar missing on that turnaround. Travell Jones with the board.
Interesting on the defensive end for the Saigon. They've been switching a lot on the half-court sets of Mono. And now another adjustment for Mono. They're playing a 2-3 zone.
Travell Jones missing on that corner triple.
These are the things that we love to watch in terms of sports, especially in basketball. This is a chess game between the two coaches. There's a full display in the second quarter.
Horace Nguyen to Akeem Scott. And Akeem Scott looking great from beyond the arc.
He's just feeling it, Anton. As a player, those are the moments that you're looking for. Sometimes you're just in the zone. But, nobody can explain. You absolutely can't explain that anymore. What the zone means. But if you're in the zone, it just feels like nobody is guarding.
He is locked in right now. As we mentioned earlier, coming into the venue, 2 hours and 30 minutes before tip-off. And this is the result. Akeem Scott on fire.
In the zone, Akeem Scott.
Bringing the heat here in Saigon. There is no substitute for hard work. First man in the gym, Akeem Scott jacking up threes 2 hours and 30 minutes before game time. And he is feeling it.
Those 2 quick 3-pointers, you know, you can only do that if you're feeling it. He's hot right now, and Saigon Heat have to ride it.
16 points already for Akeem Scott. And just like that, the Saigon Heat are on top against the Mono Vampire Basketball Club, 31-21.
You know, Akeem Scott, just like Big, is still perfect from the field. He's got 3 3-pointers right now. You know, he's missed 2 free throws, but that's really not a problem right now.
Akeem was 3 out of 9 in his debut game for the Saigon Heat. And Mono Vampire can't afford to have Johnson on the bench much longer. He is back despite being saddled with 2 personal fouls.
You know, the Saigon Heat made their run. You know, they're making shots, they're making layups and threes, but it's really all coming from their defense. They're making the Mono Vampire drive to the baseline, and their help defense is just always there. We've seen two offensive fouls.
And Akeem Scott is not done yet. That was a heat check.
Fun to see him play like this. You know, when you're hot, you're hot.
Johnson against Morgan.
19 points already for Akeem Scott. He's gonna, most likely, he's gonna break the 20-point barrier before halftime.
34-23 in favor of the home team. Scott getting the instructions from Coach Kyle Julius as David Arnold brings down the basketball.
Another
Scott.
open.
And that's his first miss from beyond the arc.
And you're Anton, that's a miss, but that's another open shot for Akeem Scott.
But a steal here by Scott. Giving it up to Horace Gwen. That would have brought the house down. Here comes Paul Zamar. Stops, pops, and connects.
Good heads-up play there by Paul Zamar. He's seen that, you know, the Saigon Heat has done 2 offensive fouls already. He stops there for a little floater, and that's just as effective as an open layup.
Here's Arnold looking at Scott for the play. Arnold short on that triple try. Johnson, football pass to Brickman. Could not get the touchdown.
That's one of the things that Reggie Johnson loves to do. After he gets a rebound, he's so good in giving that outlet pass for a quick fast break for the Mono Vampire.
David Arnold being defended by Brickman.
And you know, Anton, what we're seeing here for the Saigon Heat is that they're playing the matchups. Every single time down the court in their half-court sets, they're trying to make Reggie Johnson play defense.
And Reggie Johnson giving Travell Jones space. Jones draining that mid-range J.
And you know, if you're Mono Vampire, if they're trying to take advantage of Reggie Johnson on the defensive end, you gotta feed him the ball on the offense.
We have not seen much of that in this ball game. As we see, Moses Morgan.
If you don't give your big man the ball on offense, this is what you're gonna see from Reggie Johnson. He's not gonna come back on defense.
Here's Johnson underneath. And Saigon has no choice but to foul him.
Every single time down the court, when Mono Vampire is patient with their offense, I know this is contrary to how they like to play, which is up and down, but they're the bigger team right now. They're the heftier team. They have to take advantage of Reggie Johnson down there.
Interestingly, Reggie Johnson told me that he's not a big fan of the superstars. I mean, the superstars in the NBA, like LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Kevin Durant. His favorite player is actually Al Horford. In terms of the current players right now, he also is a big fan of Al Jefferson and Marc Gasol because they're not too flashy, but they get it done.
Yes. Those players, you know, they just get the job done. Nothing flashy. You know, it speaks very much like the game of Reggie Johnson.
Moses Morgan! It was like the parting of the Red Sea. And he lays it up and in.
For that one time on defense, Reggie Johnson actually tried to go up in the perimeter to defend Travell Jones. So that just opens up the lane for Moses Morgan.
Mono Vampire just looking stunned right now as they face this flamethrower of a run from the Saigon Heat.
You know, Mono Vampire has to do something to stop this run. The Saigon Heat are running on every opportunity. It may be a made basket or a missed basket, but they're running on the break every single time.
Now this is the biggest advantage for Mono. Reggie Johnson in the paint.
And you know, with this advantage, it actually gives the coach of the Saigon Heat the luxury to rest the team's back.
But here's the problem with Johnson giving Travell Jones space.
Yes.
Jones confident with that outside touch.
And you know, on defense for the Saigon Heat, they're clogging the paint because they don't want Reggie Johnson to get the ball down low. So somebody is open for the open shot. And we saw right there Chinchai pulling the three, but you know, he has to take it with confidence.
Jason Brickman will throw this ball in play. Let's see if they will try to get the ball down low to Johnson once again. Johnson barking something at the official here.
Good cut from Paul Zamar, but I don't think they're going to count the basket.
And Johnson is actually having a word with Coach Kyle Julius.
And you know, that's frustration already right there. The Saigon Heat, they're building up a big lead. And this is actually, you know, something that Reggie Johnson should watch out for. He already has 2 fouls. If he picks up a technical, that's actually going to be a 3rd foul for him.
(44-28) in favor of the home team, the Saigon Heat. Here comes Jason Brickman.
And a very quick rest there for a team stop.
Reggie Johnson!
That's a travel.
Good mix for Stephen. He knows it.
Knows it, yeah.
There's a smile from Reggie Johnson.
You'll take that any day, you know, if you're all day. I mean, if you're the Saigon Heat. Reggie Johnson starting his offense up there at the top of the key instead of down low in the post. That's good defense for the Saigon Heat.
Stefan Nguyen looking for a teammate. Gives it to Travell Jones.
Again.
Johnson not giving him space this time. And Travell Jones. Oh! Travell Jones with a facial.
By Travell Jones. We said he likes to shoot threes. But man, can't he get up there?
Travell Jones just taking what the defense gave him. Look out! Here comes Travell Jones again!
And Mono Vampire just out of sorts here on their offense. They're trying to attack quickly, but Saigon knows that they're just clogging the paint.
Paul Zamar trying to breathe life back into his ball club.
Yes, and quickly, Patrick Sanders up from the bench, trying to help his team. One of the few bright spots for Mono Vampire is actually Paul Zamar. Every time he tries to make a play, he either gets fouled, gets an assist, or gets a basket.
Former star player from the University of the East Red Warriors in the UAP in the Philippines. And making a name for himself here in the ASEAN Basketball League, Paul Zamar.
And you know, I just can't stop, you know, taking a look at the offense that Saigon is playing right now. Every single time down the court, they're trying to make Reggie Johnson play defense. And on that last dunk from Travell Jones, Reggie Johnson actually sensed that everyone is trying to attack him. So he tried to get up at the perimeter, and because Travell Jones has the advantage of his speed, he gets the highlight dunk right there.
You're watching our coverage of the ASEAN Basketball League as we continue to make history all around Asia and the world. Saigon, the home team, looking for their first victory of the season. and they are loving the atmosphere, the energy here at the CIS Arena. Now, it's a tough task for Coach Doug Marty as his team is down big here in the first half.
Yep, it's interesting to see the adjustment that Coach Doug Marty is going to try to make, especially at halftime. There's still 4 minutes left, and I'm sure what he's trying to tell his team right here is just try to trim the lead down when we get into halftime.
We've got 4 minutes and 31 seconds remaining here in the first half. What a game from this man, Travell Jones. Couple of highlight plays too, not too shabby.
Yep. He's actually very smart. He's recognizing that there's advantages in terms of speed against Reggie Johnson. He has absolutely no chance if he wants to bang down in the paint. But this is a very interesting 4 minutes for the Saigon Heat. They have to rest Travell Jones and field in a couple of their local players. So let's see if they sustain this run.
Here's David Arnold waiting for that screen from Moses Morgan. Akeem Scott with Zamar on him. Scott, 3 on the shot clock. Top of the key, 3! Akeem Scott!
And even though he had to rest, he is still hot. And if I were Mono Vampire right now, I would try to deny him the ball.
And Jason Brickman is complaining about something.
I think he got poked in the eye.
And
Lost
I
his
think they're
contacts.
looking for his contact lenses. But what a game from Akeem Scott Jai.
Yes. Almost half of the points of the Saigon Heat has come from him. But interesting, you know, Anton. If and when the Mono Vampire denies him the ball or double teams him, it's interesting what adjustment they're gonna make on offense. Who they're gonna try to get the ball to. I'd love to see Moses Morgan more involved in the offense for Saigon Heat.
Zamar. Chitchai.
Again, great half-court defense from Saigon Heat. They're trying to front Reggie Johnson, and behind him is the help defender right away. So if you're the Mono Vampire, you gotta make that skip pass for the open 3 on the other side of the court.
A very animated Akeem Scott directing traffic. Here comes Scott down the lane. Akeem Scott!
Offensive foul. He warded off with his offhand. But you just stated there, Akeem Scott was very animated. He was actually trying to get the person, Reggie Johnson. Technical here from the coach of Saigon Heat. You know, if you're up by 20 points, you know, this is the last thing you want to see. And Moses Morgan and Akeem Scott, you know, they're trying to get him to calm down. But this is just the energy of the building here in Saigon.
Coach Kyle Julius wants to feel what it's like to get that first win as a coach in the ASEAN Basketball League.
Yes. But you know, he's going to break their run here by getting a technical foul. But going back on that last sequence, Akeem Scott, being a very smart player, was trying to get Reggie Johnson again involved in the pick and roll defense. But good adjustment by the players of the Mono Vampire wherein they switched. So Reggie Johnson can just stand and play his help defense.
Well, we did see the forearm of Akeem Scott on the neck of Chitchai Ananti.
Well, Chitchai is an explosive player. This guy is someone who can get off the floor and dunk those baskets also.
Brickman. And that's an offensive
That's
foul.
3 fouls. That's 3 fouls for Reggie Johnson.
That's a huge blow. A huge blow to the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. Johnson.
We've seen him frustrated a while ago, and this is just gonna fuel the fire for Reggie Johnson. He has to sit down for the rest of the second quarter.
Scott trying to recover.
Good defense by Jason Brickman.
Travell Jones. Jones showing us the mid-range, just too strong on that jumper.
And you know what we're seeing for Saigon here is a very, very spread 5-out offense. You know, nobody is in the lane, opening up the shaded area for the penetration of Akeem Scott.
Mono Vampire is going to need a monster game from Patrick Sanders if they want to get back into this. Moses Morgan driving down the lane. David Arnold from the corner.
Another good driving kick for Saigon. You know, if you take good shots, if you run your offense well, even though you don't make those baskets, those threes don't fall in, you're ready for the fast break of the other team. And that's what's happening. That's why Mono Vampire can't get their fast break game going.
Akeem Scott! May I remind everybody watching right now that this is just the first half.
Yep, and you know, as J.O. Cruatiwa takes the three back, but if you're Mono, if you have somebody on the other team that is this hot, you can't give him open shots, and that was just miscommunication on defense from Mono right there.
Now it's Jason Brickman on Akeem Scott. Here's Jones passing it to the corner. Look at the ball movement of the Heat. Moses Morgan lost control. Here comes Sanders. Sanders shovel pass, and you were talking about Chichai being very athletic.
Yep, this guy is very thin, but he's very, very fast and very athletic.
David Arnold. Morgan coming off the screen. And here comes Jason Brickman.
The key here for Mono Vampire is to play good individual defense. The offense of Saigon is really revolving around individual play. A lot of one-on-one basketball, a lot of floor spacing, so you gotta stay in front of your man.
Here's Akeem Scott. Looking for Travell Jones down low. Jones with a fake. Backing down Chantachon. Picking it out. Ball ends up in the hands of Morgan. And the Heat still have control.
Now you can see the Mono Vampire double teaming Travell Jones, and I wouldn't be surprised if they double Akeem Scott also. What that creates is a lot of offensive rebounds for your team.
Jason Brickman, one of the more experienced players here from Mono, scoring, but he has his hands full against this beast.
You know, Akeem Scott with this relentless attack of the basket, he's approaching 10 free throws already in just in the first half. That's just a play that's really hard to stop if you're Jason Brickman. You know, Travell Jones sets the screen for you right up at half court. This is what you see the Golden State Warriors do with Steph Curry. You know, they try to screen him very high so he has momentum going to the basket for the open three or the drive to the basket.
Akeem Scott, in his debut for the Heat, had 29 points. Right now, he already has 25.
And, you know, I think it's safe to say that he's going to break that 29-point barrier.
The way Akeem moves, it's kind of like how Russell Westbrook moves. The in and out dribble, the long strides, the confidence, the athleticism, the power. If there's one weakness, it's his free throw shooting, Jai.
Yes, and you know, I actually think he's surprised that he's not making his free throws. With the way he's shooting the three, I think he's a good free throw shooter. He's just not making it tonight.
Well, I'm pretty sure that he will come to the arena very early to work on those free throws, just like he did his three-point shot today. And he will take a well-deserved breather. Akeem Scott heading back to the bench.
Yep, that's a defensive substitution for Saigon. Second to the last play of for the first half for Mono Vampire.
And the basket is good from way out.
Second three for J.O. If this guy gets hot for Mono, they can catch up in an instant.
Had 13 points in their last game. And he's also one of the top three-point shooters in this league.
Good defense also. He has good size. He can move.
And Chichai shooting it from half court as time expires. And the Saigon Heat leading the Mono Vampire Basketball Club at the half, 57-42. The home team looking to come up with their first victory in the 2017-2018 season of the ASEAN Basketball League. Get ready, because the Saigon Hot Girls are about to heat up the hardcourt here at the CIS Arena.
womanizer.
Yeah, make some noise.
Superstar, where you from? How's it going? I know you got a clue what you're doing. You can play brand new to all the other chicks out here, but I know what you are, baby. Look at you, getting more than just a re-up. Baby, you got all the puppets with the strings up. Faking like a good one, but I call them like I see them. I know what you are, baby. Womanizer, womanizer, you're a womanizer, oh, womanizer, oh, you're a womanizer, baby. You are, womanizer, womanizer, womanizer. Boy, don't try to front, I know just what you are. Boy, don't try to front, I know just what you are. You got me going, you're oh so charming, but I can't do it. You womanizer. Boy, don't try to front, I know just what you are. Boy, don't try to front, I know just what you are. You say I'm crazy, I got you crazy. You're nothing but a womanizer.
Vâng, một tràng pháo tay cho Saigon Hot Girl và ông 30.
Don't get enough. I've been drowning in your, lost in the rush, faded just stuck.
Kính thưa quý vị, và chúng ta ngay bây giờ sẽ đến một trò chơi hấp dẫn cùng những phần quà rất là giá trị. Đó là ném rổ có thưởng được tài trợ bởi ngân hàng Bản Việt Vietcapital Bank. Let's come to the game name Shoot for Money. Vâng, một tràng pháo tay cho ba thí sinh của chúng ta được không ạ? Vâng, và các bạn sẽ lần lượt ném từng vạch mà các bạn chọn. Xin mời. Vâng, còn một chút xíu, cỡ này nữa thôi. Vâng, cũng vậy luôn, cỡ này thôi. Oh. Woo. Vâng, lượt thứ hai. Xin mời. Vâng, phần thưởng đó là 1 triệu đồng. 1 million. Vâng, còn chút xíu thôi. Oh. Và bây giờ sẽ là mức cuối cùng, một bộ merchandise của Saigon. Vâng, rất cố gắng rồi nhưng mà chúng ta không may mắn cả ba bạn. Và hãy cùng lại đây chúng ta chụp hình lưu niệm với trò chơi được tài trợ bởi ngân hàng Bản Việt Vietcapital Bank. Các bạn quay qua lại. Vâng, xin được cảm ơn phần tham gia của ba bạn. Và bây giờ chúng ta sẽ đến với trò chơi Roving Basket, ném rổ di động. Các em nhỏ ở bên trên, nếu ai muốn chơi chạy xuống đây. Xin mời. Rồi, mời con. Ê, di chuyển nào, di chuyển. Xin mời.
Once bitten and twice shy. I keep my distance, but you still catch my eye.
Congratulations. Xin mời
Do you
con.
recognize me? Well, it's been a year, it doesn't surprise me.
Một lần nữa nào.
I've wrapped it up and sent
Oh.
it with a note saying I love you, I meant it. Now I know what a fool I've been, but if you kiss me now, I know you'd fool me again.
You're watching our coverage of the ASEAN Basketball League as we continue to make history. At the half, we have the Saigon Heat leading the Mono Vampire Basketball Club 57-42. Anton Ross alongside Jai Reyes. Jai, what do you think is the biggest reason as to why the Heat are up big here at the half?
Well, I'll put it as simple as I can. Akeem Scott, he's hot right now. He has 25 points on 8 out of 9 shooting. Actually, 26 points. And both teams are shooting very well from the field, 55%. But the problem is for the Mono Vampires that they're not taking advantage of their big guys down in the low post. Reggie Johnson has 3 fouls, and that's one of the main problems for them.
He's got a flamethrower for a right hand, talking about Akeem Scott, 6 out of 7 from beyond the arc. Now, the biggest problem for the Mono Vampire Basketball Club is the inability of Reggie Johnson to perform the way he normally does. Johnson is the number 4 scorer in the ABL, averaging 25.8 points per contest, but he's been saddled with 3 personal fouls, only having 5 points so far in this game.
Yes, that's good defense right there for the Saigon Heat. It's very obvious that it's the game plan for them to send him baseline. First of all, they're gonna front him on the post. When they throw the ball over the defender, the help defense is right there. And the brightest spot right now for the Mono Vampires, Paul Zamar, with 8 points.
We are underway here in the third quarter of this game between the Mono Vampire Basketball Club and the home team, the Saigon Heat. Glad to have you with us, Anton Ross, alongside Jai Reyes, who is back here in Saigon.
Yes, and adjustment for Coach Doug Marty. First play out of the half, they go right inside to Reggie Johnson. And again, they're looking for him down low in the post again.
And that's the biggest advantage they have. There's nobody with the size to match up with that of Johnson's, as we see Paul Zamar making you look good.
Yep, Paul Zamar now with 10 points. That's good ball movement for Mono right now. During the first half, they were trying to force the pass down low to Reggie Johnson. Not seeing the double team behind him. That play, they moved the ball very well, and they get a basket from Paul Zamar.
Jones trying to get one over Reggie Johnson. Reggie Johnson has a huge advantage down low. They throw it up to him.
That's
But
the help
Moses
defense.
Morgan was there. Here comes Hakeem Scott.
Wow.
28 points now for Scott. Paul Zamar thought about the three. Moves closer. Zamar with an acrobatic shot. Morgan with a board.
And yes, Anton, that was what we were talking about during the half. The Mono Vampire, they have to slow this pace down and take advantage of their size down low.
Brickman with David Arnold in front of him. Johnson throwing it down low to Sanders. Sanders with a step back. Sanders short on that jumper.
Good move right there for Sanders. That's where he wants to get the ball. He misses the shot, and that translates into an open three for Saigon. Fortunately for Mono, they missed the three.
Stefan Nguyen missing on that triple try. Here's Brickman.
Mismatch.
Chantachon backing down Scott. Chantachon short on that jump hook. And the ball will go back to Saigon.
Anton, even though they missed that shot, that is what they have to do. They have to pound the ball down low, and they have to attack Hakeem Scott so they can make him play defense so he gets tired on the offensive end.
Scott defended by Zamar. David Arnold has the basketball with the smaller Brickman on him. Arnold spins, hook shot, doesn't go. Johnson with the board.
You know, that play that Saigon is running, that high pick and roll into a back pick for Travell Jones, that's the set play of the Houston Rockets. They use a lot with James Harden and Eric Gordon.
And nothing Jones could do there but to foul the bulldozer of a man, Reggie Johnson, who has to get going for Mono Vampire Basketball Club.
You know, that's the key for Mono. Even though this time Reggie Johnson attacked the basket from way up the top of the key, they need to get him the ball and find a way to get him inside the paint.
Reggie Johnson is confident with the chemistry that he has with his teammates, saying that they've already won 3 championships together in the Thailand Super Basketball League, and it's just about building those championship habits for them to get to the top of the mountain here in the ASEAN Basketball League.
This is a different animal in the ABL. In Thailand, clearly they are the best team, but here, there's a lot of good teams.
And Hakeem Scott just surpassed his 29-point output in his debut game for Saigon.
We still have 24 seconds here in the third quarter, and he's up to almost 30 points already.
David Arnold. Stefan Nguyen with a drive, kicking it out. Moses Morgan, top of the key. 3 for Moses Morgan!
Timeout here for Coach Doug Marty. When someone in your team is going, someone is in the zone and hot, it just affects everybody on the court. And we see here, you know, Moses Morgan has been quiet all night long, but that time, that 3 can get him going.
You know what, Jai? Coming into this game, we thought Mono Vampire was the better three-point shooting team, but that has been the exact opposite.
What Saigon is doing right here is they're trying to take advantage, again, of Reggie Johnson. When Mono misses a shot, they're off to the races. And when there's an open 3, they're not hesitating on taking it. And the interesting stat that we see in halftime, they had 14 assists. That's their 15 assists right there in this game. And for FIBA rules game of only 10 minutes per quarter, that's actually high already.
Moses Morgan. I think the combination of Morgan and Jones just very deadly because they're 2 very mobile big men who can shoot it from distance.
Yes, and what you like about Moses Morgan is, you know, even though he's not putting up big numbers like Hakeem Scott on the offensive end, he's playing very, very tough defense on the imports of the other team.
I remember coming into the game, the biggest concern for the Saigon Heat was the lack of time together. Coach Kyle Julius telling me earlier they had no training camp, no exhibition game. They're 2 months behind the rest of the league in terms of the preparation. But right now they are looking like a well-oiled machine in just their second game here in the ABL season.
They're making that time up very quickly just in the first half of this game. And as we can see during that timeout, instead of listening to the huddle, Reggie Johnson was actually barking to the referees, complaining about something. And that's just frustration sinking in for Reggie.
Meanwhile, Jason Brickman showing everybody that we have to be reminded that he's got speed as well, but look at the mobility of Moses Morgan.
And you know, Coach Doug Marty makes a quick adjustment here in the third quarter, bringing in 2 local type players as Palm makes the shot right there and putting Patrick Sanders on the bench.
That's a good find by Reggie Johnson. As we see Morgan lose control of that basketball, but it will stay with the Saigon Heat.
Anton, this is a good sign for the Saigon Heat. We talked about earlier in the game that during their last game, they were actually up by 9 points going to the fourth quarter, but they just lost steam. But with Moses Morgan being more aggressive here in the third quarter, that allows Akeem Scott a little bit of breathing room so he can have more energy.
Remember, Moses Morgan was not 100% in their first game of the season, was sick because of food poisoning, was dehydrated, had to be rushed to the hospital right after that game against the Formosa Dreamers. But now Moses Morgan showing us his true form.
No signs of the food poisoning here in this game today, especially with his rebounding and tough defense against the imports of Mono.
Stefan Nguyen with a spin move. Moses Morgan, top of the key three. Once again, Moses Morgan stroking it.
You know, Anton, another assist there for the Saigon Heat. Stefan Nguyen is actually, you know, he's not scoring the basketball, but he's making a lot of plays for his teammates. Good drive and kick right there.
Again, swarming defense on Reggie Johnson.
This is what Mono needs to do. Just pound the ball down low, get everyone into foul trouble, and hopefully get into the penalty bonus as soon as possible.
Brickman throws it up to Johnson, trying his luck from beyond the arc. Way to the left, Samar.
Good defense again right there for the Saigon Heat. They force Reggie Johnson to take a contested three-pointer.
Akeem Scott, you know, when he comes down the floor, dribbling the ball, moving in and out, you can feel the energy from the crowd. The excitement that Scott brings to this basketball club is very, very impressive.
Yes. And you know, the whole building just knows that there's something exciting going to happen, as we see again right there, as he beats 3 defenders for the basket and almost gets the steal.
Akeem Scott, like a man possessed in just his second game for the Saigon Heat.
And Paul Zamar taking a page out of the game of Akeem Scott right there, being aggressive and drawing the foul.
As you said, Zamar has been the lone bright spot for Mono here in this game.
You know, with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, Mono has to make their run right here, right now. Maybe turn the lead down to single digits or 10 points going to the fourth, and they're going to be in striking distance. They've got the Saigon Heat in the penalty right now, so they have to take advantage of that.
And this is one of the challenges that teams have to go against here in the ASEAN Basketball League. Sometimes when you're down, you're playing away from home, and you have a crowd like this, you have to find some way to tune out the noise.
Yes. And you know, the travel is no joke.
Oh,
These
no
trips,
joke as well.
These trips are short trips, but it takes a toll on your body.
Here's a drive. Nothing there.
A little bit on the inside of traveling here in the ABL. Teams in the NBA, they have chartered planes. They don't wait in line. They don't go through immigration. But here, every time a team travels in the ABL, you gotta wait. You gotta wait for immigration. You gotta go in line. and you gotta wait for your baggage. So that's a challenge for each team here in the ABL if you're playing on a away game.
Pam with the offensive rebound. Oh, Johnson was stripped by Jones. Here comes Scott. Pam is on him. Shovel pass inside. Travel Jones off the glass and in.
Before the third quarter ends, I'm pretty sure that the Saigon Heat, they're gonna have 20 or more assists in the game already. That's why they're winning this game.
Brickman passing into the corner. Baseline drive. Paul Zamar unable to put it down. But a foul underneath. It's on Stefan Nguyen.
Good drive right there from J.O. Theo. He knows that the defender is going to close out because he's a very good shooter. So he puts the ball down on the floor and makes a play. Dishes the ball to Paul Zamar and he gets fouled for 2 free throws.
And the crowd continuing to make some noise as Zamar takes these free throws.
On offense, just like what Coach Doug Marty told us before the game, they don't have a problem scoring the basketball. Although they've only scored 54 points here in the third quarter, that is not low for an ABL game. Their problem is how to stop the other team from scoring. Saigon already has 73 points with 4 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
Meanwhile, Jones missing from the outside. David Arnold does that from the inside.
Saigon, they just have no problem breaking the man-to-man defense on Martin. If you're Coach Doug Martin, maybe a little bit of a half-court zone press, falling down into a 2-3 or a 1-2-2. But they have definitely they have to do something different to stop the Saigon Heat from moving that basketball and getting open looks.
Substitutions happening here on the side of the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. Patrick Sanders is in. Chichai Ananti, number 77, is also in as well. Sanders using the Johnson screen. High-low play. Lob up top. Tapped by David Arnold.
Good fronting defense by Saigon again, not letting Reggie Johnson get the basket down low. And Patrick Sanders, he has to get going if they want to have a chance at this game in the fourth quarter. During halftime, he only had 6 points.
That's right. We know Patrick Sanders is capable of doing much more, as we see Akeem Scott heading back to the line after drawing that foul. 32 points already for Akeem Scott. What a performance in just his second game for the Saigon Heat.
That's right.
From Harlem, New York. Represents the Jamaican national basketball team as well.
If there's a low point in this game, it's just his free throw shooting, but I think it's going to improve a lot better here in the third quarter.
No problem on that first one, as he hears the applause from the home crowd here at the CIS Arena in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam.
And he's been very, very aggressive in this game. And as a player, if you're going full speed and aggressive on each and every play, when you get fouled and you go to the free throw line, sometimes it's just hard to slow your heartbeat down to take those 2 free throws.
Zamar to Sanders. Sanders with Morgan on him. Sanders kicking it out. Ananti for 3.
Good pass. Good pass by Patrick Sanders to Chichai for a 3 right there.
Here comes Scott, stepping on the brakes.
That's better defense from Mono right there, preventing Saigon from an early attack and make them run their half-court set.
Wild shot put up there by Moses Morgan, but the ball will stay with the Saigon Heat.
That's what they need to do if you're Mono Vampire. Just prevent them from attacking within less than 8 seconds and going to the basket or hitting an open 3 and make them run their half-court set.
David Arnold will throw this inbound pass as we resume this contest between the Saigon Heat and the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. Thank you for watching us. This is our coverage of the ASEAN Basketball League. Anton Ross together with Jai Reyes breaking down all the action here from inside the CIS Arena.
And Anton, here we go. A little bit of zone defense here for Mono, and they do get a stop.
And let's see if they will continue to work with that adjustment. Sanders with a drive, and Sanders is able to draw foul.
There you go. They've been able to get those fouls against the Saigon Heat here in the third quarter, and they've been shooting a lot of free throws. This is what Patrick Sanders needs to do. He has the advantage against anybody who defends him from the Saigon Heat. He can either shoot over them or use his speed and get to the free throw line for 2 shots.
Le is back in for the Saigon Heat. He was the surprise starter for Coach Kyle Julius in this game.
You know, whenever Saigon makes a substitution, it's a crucial time for them. Because we all know that their first 5 is very solid. They can compete with any team here in the ABL. But once they start rotating their players, that's when they need to lock down and play better defense.
And Akeem Scott with a turnover there.
Very rare miscue from Akeem Scott in tonight's game.
Travell was not looking when Akeem wanted to release that basketball. Johnson. Nice cut by Chichay.
Good play by Reggie Johnson. Good pass right there. For this game, given the game plan of the Saigon Heat, they're not going to let Reggie Johnson dominate the paint. So he has to get his teammates involved. That's a good cut by Chichay right there. He just didn't make the layup.
The Saigon Heat with Akeem Scott holding the keys to this high-speed automobile has really made it difficult for the Mono Vampire Basketball Club to keep up with the Heat.
And even though Akeem Scott is getting a full head of steam, the reason why he's getting that momentum is because the guards of Mono Vampire, they're pressuring him in the backcourt. So it allows him to beat this guy early and get to the lane.
But Jason Brickman getting a steal off that pass by Scott and going all the way for the layup. Jones with a fake, Jones with a drive, David Arnold for 3. David Arnold rattles that one home.
Good ball movement again from the Saigon Heat. And this is where Mono has to watch out. Whenever Saigon makes a basket, they try to get it back quickly and go away from their inside game.
Meanwhile, David Arnold continuing to make the necessary plays for his ball club.
Another quick shot by Mono. Luckily, they get the offensive rebound.
Brickman from the free throw line, missing on that shot. David Arnold, drop pass to Travell Jones. Sanders picks up the loose ball.
You know, in basketball, Anton, most of the time, the team that dictates the pace and the style of play wins the game. And right now, the fast-paced game of the Saigon Heat, they're dictating how Mono Vampire plays their game as well.
Coach Kyle Julius did tell me before the game that they want to push the tempo but also be able to play a half-court game as well. But in this type of situation, pushing the tempo has been key, and that is why the Heat are up big right now.
Yes, if you're the Saigon Heat, even though you miss early shots, as long as they're open shots and they're good shots, you have no problem taking those early shots in the shot clock.
1 minute and 33 seconds to go here in the third quarter. The Saigon Heat hoping to notch their first victory in the 2017-2018 season of the ASEAN Basketball League.
And definitely those missed free throws by Reggie Johnson is not going to help the case of a comeback here for the Mono Vampire.
Travell Jones. Johnson not giving him any breathing room. Drive here by Le.
Good defense by Mono right there, but you gotta come up with a rebound. A defensive possession is not over until you get a defensive rebound.
Akeem Scott with the crossover. Spin move. Unable to put it down.
Not a good pass by Reggie Johnson right there. They're playing better defense right now. They're making the Saigon Heat play their half-court game, but you can't throw away those possessions if you get them.
And Reggie Johnson looking at Coach Doug Marty earlier, saying, my bad. David Arnold looking to get Travell Jones that basketball. Travell has 6 on the shot clock. Jones with a pass, and Le lost control. The ball will go back to the Mono Vampire Basketball Club.
Good defense by Reggie Johnson right there. But it's clear that they're trying to attack Reggie Johnson, whether it be on an isolation or a pick and roll. They just want to involve him to play defense.
Brickman. 12 on the shot clock here in the third quarter. Brickman with a burst of speed.
Good drive by Jason Brickman.
And Saigon still has time. Let's see what the response of Akeem Scott is. Look at those moves. Akeem Scott missing on the triple, but David Arnold energized as he scores on that turnaround and the putback.
And that's just hustle right there for the Saigon Heat. And you can see their coach right now, even though they're up big, he's still getting into Travell Jones.
David Arnold, what a game for him.
You know, if you're Mono Vampire towards the end of the third quarter, you are actually doing the right things. They were making the Saigon Heat slow down their pace and play the half-court game. But the problem is, every time they make the Saigon Heat miss their shots, they're not coming up with the defensive rebounds, or when they do get the offensive rebounds, they throw the ball away trying to get the lead back in just one possession. And that just never happens in basketball. You gotta take it possession by possession, point by point.
So Jai, if you are Coach Doug Marty, what are you telling your players right now as you're down big entering the fourth?
Well, right now, if you're the coach, getting mad at your players is, nothing's gonna happen anymore. So you just want to encourage them. You may not get the victory in this game, but it's a springboard for your next game. You want to end this game well, so you're on your trip back on the plane going back home to Thailand. There's something good to discuss and actually build on for the next game.
Saigon just surprising the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. Now we also have to take into consideration that Mono was not really able to scout Saigon much because they only played one game so far.
Yes, that's true, Anton. We keep on talking about it. It's a disadvantage that they haven't had time to prepare. They've only played one game. But on the flip side of things, nobody knows you. It's hard to play somebody that you don't know.
So it's the unpredictability,
yes,
that the Saigon Heat have put on display here in this game on their home floor at the CIS Arena in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. And what an atmosphere as well, as the fans have really come out and have made some noise all throughout this contest, energizing their squad.
And Anton, early in the game, we've talked about the Saigon Heat being very reliant on their imports, both world and ASEAN imports. And right now, their imports have 81 of the 84 points. The only 3 points coming from Stefan Nguyen.
That is just an insane stat that you just mentioned, Jai.
You know, if you're Mono, very reliant on their imports, both world and ASEAN imports. And right now, their imports have 81 of the 84 points. The only 3 points coming from Stefan Nguyen.
That is just an insane stat that you just mentioned, Jai.
You know, if you're Mono, you have to be absolutely disappointed. Nobody else is scoring for the Saigon Heat. No local production. That's what I mean. But you're still down big, so you have to find ways. You gotta get. If you're Mono, you gotta get your imports involved.
Moses Morgan, basket plus the foul.
More points for the imports of Saigon Heat, and Mono just has no answer on defense.
What a way to bounce back after playing through sickness in his first game. Moses Morgan.
Yes, he forces the switch on the pick and roll, gets big, and he recognizes his advantage is speed against big of Mono, and he just gets the end one right there.
Paul Zamar with Scott on him. Zamar backing down Scott. Zamar missing on that bank shot. Moses Morgan with a rebound.
If you're mono, you have no choice anymore here but to take quick shots, take more threes, and just hope to create more turnovers.
Akeem Scott, what a move! Up and under on the reverse. 34 points for Akeem Scott.
And then that's the hard thing if you're trying to force turnovers. You're trying to speed up the game. You're going to open the lane more for Akeem Scott, especially that Reggie Johnson is on the bench right now. Now, if you're Saigon, you just want to play it smart right here. But they're not yet done scoring, Anton.
Coming in with a lot of fuel. The Saigon Heat reloaded for their second home game of the season. And this time, making sure the fans don't go home disappointed.
Now our referee calls a technical foul on Moses Morgan for flopping. I want to see that again. I thought he actually got hit right there. At best, it should have been a no call if he didn't want to give anything.
And that is what Akeem and David are explaining to one of our referees right now.
Yes, but if you're up this big in the fourth quarter, you just want to let that call go and get on with the game.
Because as you said, in the ABL, preparation, the travel, very vital. And if you want to finish the game and go home and recover as quick as possible, you will take that option.
Yes.
Jason Brickman.
You know, for mono, you just want to play as best as you can in the final 9 minutes of the game. Get the locals involved, get their confidence going for the next game.
Well, they were trying to get Big Chantachon involved early on.
They were actually very successful early on the game, getting Big involved. He was 3 of 3 ending the first quarter, but after that, they got influenced by the fast-paced game of the Saigon Heat.
What a play that was. It was like David Arnold knew that Travell Jones would fade out to that spot on the wing beyond the arc.
That's what he brings to the table for the Saigon Heat. We've seen this, you know, at the end of the third quarter where he beat the buzzer with an offensive rebound and an easy layup.
That's a 5-second violation right there for Saigon.
You gotta push the pace right here if you're Mono Vampire to have any shot on winning the game. Running your offense down to the final couple of seconds of the shot clock is just not an option here.
Brickman to Sanders, stop at a key three. That's what they need. And Coach Kyle Julius very animated right now as his players head back to the bench. He is not willing to give Mono Vampire any chances or see an opening here in the fourth quarter.
Yep. During their last game, that's what happened, but they were only up by 9 points during that last game. Now they're up by a much bigger margin. But of course, you still want to end the game on a positive note. You still want to play hard until the final buzzer.
It's just the beginning of the season for the Saigon Heat, and they want to develop those habits of not releasing the gas pedal. We saw the type of pace they've been playing with, the type of pace they're capable of having in a basketball game. And as we see, Coach Kyle Julius very animated. He knows what it takes to win. Again, he was able to get the gold medal as the coach of the Canadian team in the Jones Cup in Taiwan last July. And a former NBL Canada Coach of the Year as well this year, 2017. So he has got the coaching resume to bring the Saigon Heat to greater heights here in the ABL.
Yes, Anton, very, very good and rich coaching resume for Coach Kyle Julius. Now, if you're Coach Doug Marty for the Mono Vampire, you got a decision to make right here. With 8 minutes to go in the game, you're down big. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna keep on playing your starters, your imports? Or are you gonna rest them for your next game? Maybe give a chance for your local players to step up.
Stephen Nguyen slipping but gets back up right away. Travell Jones, that's a foul.
Now Travell Jones is recognizing that Reggie Johnson is out of the game. So instead of using his outside shooting and his speed, he's banging down low with the locals of Mono Vampire.
Scott. Stefan Nguyen. David Arnold. Ball was tapped by Sanders. It will stay with the Heat.
Another zone defense right there for Mono Vampire. But here, as the Saigon Heat takes it out of bounds, they go back to their man-to-man defense. And without Reggie Johnson in the game, they've been able to match up better against the Saigon Heat in terms of speed. But that's what's going to be the problem right there. Who's going to get the rebounds for the Mono Vampire when Reggie Johnson is on the bench?
Now it's Coach Doug Marty's turn to call a timeout. As we take a look at this last play, tip in by Travell Jones off of that miss by Moses Morgan.
Yep. With Reggie Johnson on the bench, you're looking at Patrick Sanders to shore up those defensive rebounds. And so far this season, the Mono Vampire, they've been showing up to games with either a really, really good game or a subpar game like this. And if you're Coach Doug Marty, that's something to adjust in practice when you go back home in Bangkok.
Do you think maybe they were a little bit drained from that loss against Hong Kong? Because they were right there with the defending champions. And coming into that game, Jai, they were feeling good. Confidence was sky high because they had just won 3 straight games. And then dropping that game against Hong Kong at home, do you think that maybe Hong Kong took something away from them?
Well, a loss is always not good. It's bad for your team. But it's how you take the losses. You know, after the game, are you going to try to learn from your mistakes? Or are you going to start pointing fingers? But one thing I've noticed for Mono right here is that they don't have 2 of their national team players in Singh. Singh is he could very well match up against Travell Jones when Reggie Johnson is on the bench. And they do have another point guard in Bas Samarjai. He's one of the best guards in Thailand. They're not here with the team right now, and you know, maybe they're a big part of Doug Marty's rotation.
Scott with Brickman on him. Akeem Scott accelerates. Akeem Scott with another highlight play.
I thought for a while it was Chris Paul right there running the pick and roll. Just good patience, good recognition. Even though the semi-trap was there, he was able to keep his dribble and make a play.
Meanwhile, we have Arnat Hungla knocking down that triple. We're going back to Akeem Scott. He's like a combination of Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook.
Yes. You know, if you're Mono, you got to start pressuring right here. Falling back on defense and waiting for something to happen is just not an option.
Travell Jones trying to spin his way to the basket. And still no Reggie Johnson here watching from the bench. Reggie has had a nightmare of a game, Jai.
Yes, it's just good game plan for Coach Kyle Julius of the Saigon Heat, fronting Reggie Johnson all game long and having that help defense right behind him every time they try to lob that pass. And we talked about, you know, Coach Doug Marty having to make a decision if he's gonna pull out his imports. He just pulled out Paul Zamar to give Chitchai a little bit of a run here.
Scott, they continue to pound the ball in the paint. Morgan, though, kicks it out to David Arnold, in and out on that 3.
And Anton, that play right there is what Mono needed to do when they were posting up Reggie Johnson. They were able to rotate the ball all the way to the other side where the help defender was coming from an open 3.
And that missed layup right there by Patrick Sanders just pretty much tells us what happened to the Mono Vampire Basketball Club in this game. Just firing blanks. It's been a nightmare for them here at the home of the Saigon Heat.
Good defense by Chitchai right there. Very athletic. But then without Reggie Johnson, who's going to get the rebounds for the Mono Vampire?
Jason Brickman using his body as he drove against Scott.
You know, with 5 minutes left, if you're the Saigon Heat, you just want to play smart right here. You know, avoid those costly turnovers. Just play solid basketball every possession. Run down the clock, take a shot with 5 seconds or less, and just get back on defense. Now, if you're a mono vampire, you're just gotta take chances. Take those threes, early threes. Go for those steals. You know, it's practically a lost cause already. So just try to bring in something for the next game.
Travell Jones, 29 years old, from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California, was an All-American for Texas Southern College, has been an international pro hooper for 6 years already, has played in various countries like Switzerland, Belgium, Japan, and Greece, but he has found a home here with the Saigon Heat.
You know, Anton, I really like his game. Nothing flashy, but in the ABL, the key here, if you're a world import, is for you to be able to defend the other world imports. And he has showed that ability here in this game today.
But what about Moses Morgan?
He's come alive here in the second half, definitely.
26 points for Moses Morgan.
Yes, and that was what was lacking against their game, their last game where they were up by 9 points going to the fourth quarter. It was all Akeem Scott. There was no help from Moses Morgan. You mentioned that he had food poisoning during their last game, but now he's very, very healthy, and this is how it translates. 100 points for the Saigon Heat in a 10-minute quarter game. That's very impressive.
Remember, they only had 75 points in their last game against the Formosa Dreamers, a game that they almost won. By the way, they only lost by 5 points, 80-75, with a sick and way less than 100% Moses Morgan.
And if I'm not mistaken, Anton, 97 of those 100 points have come from the 4 imports of the Saigon Heat. So for those teams who are going to play the Saigon Heat, you know who to stop.
Akeem Scott still very aggressive, even though this game is seemingly out of reach for Mono Vampire.
Akeem Scott has been able to work the pick and rolls all game long. Not just those half-court pick and rolls, but those screens that Travell Jones have been setting for him right at the half-court for him to have a full head of steam and momentum going to the basket. And we didn't see any traps, any switches from Mono. They were just Akeem Scott was just able to take advantage of all those pick and rolls.
Looking at the statistics, Akeem Scott's got 37 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists.
If somebody is this hot, getting to the paint anytime he wants to, you have to throw something else at him. Maybe a switch, maybe a trap, maybe foul him a couple of times, just for him to think about going to the basket again.
Coach Kyle Julius calls a timeout as he looks to put the finishing touches to this game, because right now the Saigon Heat have a commanding 100-81 lead in the fourth quarter against the Mono Vampire Basketball Club with 4 minutes and 2 seconds remaining here in this contest.
Yes, Antonio, very, very impressive performance here for the Saigon. After losing a game that they practically, they should have won that game, their first game, where they were up by 9 points in the fourth quarter. It's good to have that game back by an impressive wire-to-wire victory.
We're taking a look at the huddle of Coach Doug Marty, who is also a very impressive coach as well. I was talking about the coaching resume of Coach Kyle Julius, but Coach Doug Marty, very impressive also in his first season as the head coach of the Mono Vampire Basketball Club here in the ABL. He graduated from Stanford College and played also in Europe, Denmark, and Norway, and coached the national team of Luxembourg as well, and coached Charleston in the NBA D-League. So we have 2 very impressive and very friendly and gentleman-like coaches in the ABL, coaching in the first time in this league, Kyle Julius and Coach Doug Marty.
Anton, definitely high IQ coaches are coming here to the ABL. It's just fun to see the game grow at such a rapid rate, and there's no stopping from here. Coach Doug Marty, his team Mono Vampire, they've won multiple titles in Thailand, and it's just a matter of what Reggie Johnson said. It's just about building the championship character, that killer instinct that they need to bring in the ABL playoffs if ever they do make it.
Reverse layup is good.
And
For
now
Patrick Sanders.
Coach Doug Marty has rolled his bench out, leaving Patrick Sanders here with them. But the Saigon Heat, they still have their main guys out here on the floor.
And we're seeing the locals of Mono Vampire really come out with a lot of energy here, as this is their opportunity to show Coach Marty just exactly what they can do and bring to the table. Hakeem Scott giving it to Travell Jones. Travell Jones missing on that drive.
Good defense right there by the locals of Mono Vampire.
Here's Chichai. That's an offensive foul. What a way to sacrifice his body and draw the charge. Hakeem Scott doing it on both ends of the court.
And for Saigon, that's their third or fourth offensive foul drawn. They've actually drawn 2 offensive fouls against Reggie Johnson. That's why they got Reggie Johnson frustrated early in the game and out of sync.
Referee calling a violation there on Scott, so the ball will go back to the Mono Vampire Basketball Club.
You know what, the fans are just amazing here in Saigon. They practically have the ball game sealed here, but they're still upset at the referees for calling that out of bounds violation on Team Scott.
Well, they want to stay until the end of the game to celebrate the first victory of the Saigon Heat. We're coming to the venue. We saw the posters. So many sponsors supporting the Saigon Heat.
Yep.
They're treated like rock stars here in Vietnam.
And if you're Coach Kyle Julius, this is something you don't want to see. You know, a chance of an injury for any of your main players. So with 3 minutes to go here, I think sooner rather than later, he's gonna pull out his main guys already. You just can't say enough about the fans here in Saigon. They're still cheering on every play, no matter if it's a three-pointer, a dunk, or just a rebound by David Arnold. It's just fun to play for a home crowd like this.
First free throw is good for Travell Jones. Solid outing for Travell.
As we mentioned, nothing flashy, he just gets the job done, both on offense and on defense.
Also has 5 rebounds and 5 assists to his name. And I think it's the skill set of Travell that really gave Johnson a difficult time here in today's matchup.
Yes, as I mentioned, Anton, the main key for me here as an import, as a world import here in the ABL, is not just to be able to put points on the box score, but it's for you to be able to limit the other import from scoring. Let's just see more fans here, VIP fans from the Saigon Heat. Everybody watches their team here. Actors, actresses, celebrities, music stars, all of them have come out here to support the Saigon Heat.
It's a total basketball experience here inside the CIS arena.
Given that basketball is relatively new to Vietnam, this is just amazing for basketball here in Southeast Asia and the rest of the world.
I'm sure you miss being on the floor, Jai, after reliving everything, experiencing this once again here in Saigon.
Well, Anton, if you get to experience how much your knees hurt after a game, it's fun while you're out there. All the adrenaline, you don't feel anything. But after the game, man,
that's why we have so much respect for all the players.
No doubt about that.
Especially here in the ASEAN Basketball League. And look at Hakeem Scott, still playing, still on the floor, even at the age of 34. And look at him calling the game as if it's on the line right now.
Yes, and Coach Kyle Julius is still up on his feet coaching. And I think you got to take your star players out of the game right now. The Mono Vampire players, of course, they're going to try to do something. They're going to try to play aggressive. on defense. And if you've been playing the whole game, the temperatures, are heating up already. It's just prone to frustrations right here.
It's an unsportsmanlike foul called on Travell Jones. Jones is saying that he was being grabbed. Now here is one of the new additions, Jai. He was not in the original lineup, but
That's right.
there will be additions as we go along in this tournament. In fact, Coach Kyle Julius told me that domestically he's got about 5 players getting ready to join the lineup. But Chung To is ready to check back in to this game.
This guy was actually my teammate when I was playing here for the Saigon Heat. Very good shooter. Never gets tired. He plays tough defense. And the country of Vietnam, they also have this local league called the VBA. I think it's run by the same owners of the Saigon Heat. And it's just a massive platform for their local players to be able to develop their games and catch up to the rest against the rest of the countries in Southeast Asia.
Travell Jones will foul out of the game with 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, with a lot of applause from the fans.
And those are 5 fouls well spent against Reggie Johnson.
Now, these are the technical free throws being taken right now by Arnott Mangla.
And interestingly so, Team Scott is still trying to egg on the crowd to distract the Mono Vampire players from making shots.
Well, here's the thing, Jai. Coach Kyle Julius told me that their actual games in the ABL, this is also their first live action experience together. So that's probably the reason why the likes of Morgan and Scott are still on the floor, even though this game is practically won already for the Saigon Heat.
Yes, given that this is just their second game, and with a lack of preparation compared to the other teams, I think this is what Coach Kyle Julius is trying to accomplish right here. He still called the timeout with 2 minutes left, with a big lead in the 4th quarter. And I just think that he wants to get the late game executions and plays down.
We're taking a look at some of the highlight plays here, and Moses Morgan, what a comeback for him after playing sick in their last contest. Patrick Sanders trying to do everything he can here, but just not enough, especially with Reggie Johnson stuck, handcuffed to the bench with foul trouble.
Yes. Moses Morgan, he was quiet in the first half, but he was playing excellent defense against Mono Vampire, against Patrick Sanders, whom he limited to just 6 points. But then, during the 3rd quarter, he just hit those big threes to blow this game wide open.
So it's an all-local lineup now for the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. But in contrast to that, Coach Kyle Julius still fielding in Morgan and Scott.
Yes. His coaching staff is still coaching actively in this game. Maybe they see this as a preparation point for future games, and absolutely no problem about that.
Too strong on that drive. As Akeem Scott will try to put the finishing touches here for the Saigon Heat.
Let's see the play that Coach Kyle Julius drew up for the timeout.
Banking it home. I gotta ask you, Chai, was that made on purpose?
Just like what I said, he's a very good shooter, but I'm not sure if the bank is open tonight. And that's why, if I'm not mistaken, that's just the 6th point, other than the imports, for the Saigon Heat.
And the locals trying to make their presence felt here and impress Coach Doug Marty for their succeeding games.
If you're Saigon, you want to get your locals involved. You know that your imports can score, they can take over a game, But in order to win an ABL championship and make it deep into the playoffs, your locals have to produce.
Less than a minute to go before the Saigon Heat celebrate their first victory here in the 2017-2018 season of the ASEAN Basketball League. Akeem Scott to Moses Morgan. And the Saigon Heat on fire here inside the CIS Arena.
Amazing atmosphere here.
Supawich Kukandin scoring his first basket of the game. And Akeem Scott, will he go for another shot? Showing us the moves that he developed from Harlem, New York. And your buddy, To, missing on that
That
corner
would brought the
triple.
house down. Absolutely.
And Fongla,
You know, Anton, I've never played basketball in Harlem, New York, but I think it's safe to say that some of the best ball handlers in the world come from that area.
well, that's for sure. And it is now official, the Saigon Heat taste victory for the very first time in the 2017-2018 season of the ASEAN Basketball League. The final score 104-94.
Amazing game from Akeem Scott and the rest of the Saigon Heat team. And of course, they hope to build on this momentum. If you're Mono Vampire, you're looking at going back to Bangkok and getting in some practice time because that's a couple of lost games already for them.
Check that, looking at the scoreboard here, the final score is 110 for the Saigon Heat, 94 for the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. Jai, your thoughts on this first victory of the Saigon Heat here in this brand new season?
Anton, this should have been their second win. They let one step away during the first game, but right now they took those mistakes, they learned from it, and they were able to come up with a big win here in Saigon.
And a big game from the likes of Akeem Scott, Ravel Jones, and Moses Morgan. Akeem Scott, look at this, the athleticism, the speed, like a bolt of lightning coming down the floor, and also the extension of the coach. Look at the way he moves. Just tough to stop.
Mono just had no answer for Akeem Scott in today's game, whether it was scoring, getting his teammates involved, or dishing out that assist. Everyone was there. David Arnold also had a big game with those offensive rebounds and hustle plays.
Stay tuned for the interview of our sideline reporter with our player of the game. But once again, the Saigon Heat prevail over the Mono Vampire Basketball Club at home, 110-94. On behalf of my partner Jai Reyes, this is Anton Ross saying thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all again next time as we continue to make history in Season 8 of the ASEAN Basketball League.
Thưa quý vị, hôm nay Saigon Heat đã có một trận đấu tuyệt vời với một chiến thắng cách biệt, và không khí tại nhà thi đấu CIS lúc này là vô cùng sôi động. Chúng ta hãy cùng trò chuyện với Akeem Scott, cầu thủ xuất sắc nhất của Saigon Heat trong trận đấu ngày hôm nay. Hi Akeem, how about your feeling about your game today?
Oh man, first I just want to give God all the glory. Without Him, we can't do anything. With Him, we conquer all in front of us. It's good to get a win, you know. we worked really hard, and we lost the game last week without, just simple mistakes. But now we, just be able to come out here and play the way we did, play fast, play together as a team, play really good defense. That feels really good.
How you feel about the atmosphere today, about your fan, and you want to give us some idea about to your fan today?
Oh man, fans was amazing. Yeah. I love the fans. Fans was amazing. I just want them to keep coming out, keep packing the house out, keep making a lot of noise. Hey, Saigon Heat, this is my new home, and we happy to be here. We happy to be here.
Okay, so with your new home, will be lucky at the next match. Thank you, Akim.
Thank you.
Thưa quý vị, rút kinh nghiệm từ trận đấu thất bại ở tuần trước thì các cầu thủ Sài Gòn Heat, đặc biệt là Akim Scott đã rất nỗ lực, cố gắng và làm việc cùng nhau rất là nhiều. Và kết quả là họ đã có một thành quả chiến thắng trong ngày hôm nay. Và Akim cũng muốn gửi lời cảm ơn đến toàn thể các fan của Sài Gòn Heat đã cổ vũ và tiếp thêm tinh thần. Akim cảm thấy đây thật sự là một ngôi nhà mới của mình và các bạn ấy sẽ càng cố gắng hơn nữa để Sài Gòn Heat có một chiến thắng tiếp theo. Và người tiếp theo mà chúng ta sẽ cùng trao đổi trong phần phỏng vấn ngày hôm nay sẽ là huấn luyện viên trưởng của đội, ông Kyle Juliet. Xin mời quý vị cùng theo dõi. Hi Kyle, you feel about your team player today?
Yeah, I'm really happy for our guys. The loss last week was very difficult. It was our first game. We didn't play great. We lost the lead. We had a really hard week of practice, and I'm happy for the guys because I thought they did a really good job today. They're tired. They're very tired. So I'm just really happy for the guys that they were able to get the first win, and hopefully we can build on that.
The next opponent, you must go to the visiting team. So you will think about the next match.
I think it'll be good for us because we can get away and we can come closer together as a team, as brothers. Have some meals together, some dinners together on the road, and just get away. I think it'll be good for us. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thưa quý vị và các bạn, huấn luyện viên Kyle Juliet cũng giống như Akim là đã rút kinh nghiệm rất nhiều từ trận thua trước và họ đã làm việc cố gắng với cùng nhau, và hôm nay ông cảm thấy rất hài lòng về các học trò của mình. Mặc dù lúc này họ đang rất mệt, tuy nhiên họ vẫn rất là hào hứng vì đã giành được chiến thắng. Và mặc dù trận đấu tiếp theo thì Sài Gòn Heat phải làm khách, tuy nhiên các cầu thủ cũng đang rất là cố gắng và họ xem nhau như một gia đình, như những người anh em cùng nhau tập luyện, cùng nhau sinh hoạt cùng nhau, và chắc chắn là trận đấu tới sẽ mang tới niềm vui cho người hâm mộ. Cảm ơn quý vị và các bạn đã cùng đồng hành với Sài Gòn Heat trong trận đấu tuyệt vời ngày hôm nay, và hãy cùng đồng hành với chúng tôi trong những trận đấu tiếp theo tại nhà thi đấu CIS. Cảm ơn, xin chào và hẹn gặp lại.